what daily habits most influence or can be beneficial for women experiencing perimenopause, menopause symptoms, or and I think you even mentioned with pelvic health specifically, vaginal estrogen, or and and maybe also I threw a lot of questions at you, but also HRT is kind of a big hormone replacement therapy. Is that the same thing as an estradiol cream or estrogen cream? Can you help people out with that? What should they be
Yeah,
asking for?
so I think that women should have the opportunity to choose to have hormone replacement therapy or not based on good education and evidence. So, the WHI study that came out in 2001, 2002, there's been a lot of discussion about how this was a remarkably large study that was then cut short because of fear around breast cancer risk with estrogen and progesterone products. But we've now found that the population was older and were typically unhealthy, and that the type of estrogen and progesterone that were used are not what's more commonly used today. So having the education around the safety and efficacy before making the choice whether or not to have hormone therapy is one of the things I like to discuss with women. I like them to understand what the safety is around it. I want to work with women so that they understand what hormone therapy is. It's estrogen. Bioidentical is a term that kind of came up after the WHI study came out, when compounding pharmacies really wanted to offer a product that felt more safe to women. But bioidentical really means the chemical structure of the hormone is the same chemical structure as the hormones that are naturally produced in the body. So estradiol is the same FDA approved product as the estradiol that is produced in your body. And progesterone is the hormone that's produced in your body, and micronized progesterone is the FDA approved product that's available for women with prescriptions. Testosterone's a whole nother beast, but in just keeping with estrogen and progesterone, those are the two mostly common prescribed hormones. And they're available. Micronized progesterone is available in a capsule as an FDA approved product. And then estradiol is available as a gel, as a ring that you can insert vaginally. It's available as a patch. There's estradiol tablets as well. So that's really a personalized conversation to have with the doctor about what works best, is the most affordable. Sometimes women want something that they have to apply less frequently, or they want something daily because it's easier to remember. So those are some different things to talk about with a provider. And then when I work with women, we discuss lifestyle, because you can get hormones on board, but if you haven't optimized the environment you're going to put them in, it's not going to make as much of a difference. So if you're not working on your sleep hygiene, if you're not looking at your nutrition, if you're not moving your body in some capacity, and if you're not mitigating stress, you're not going to see the kind of results, whether or not you add hormones, that you would see if you were really focusing on those things. For women, I think stress is the biggest component. We need to learn how to mitigate stress by resting, meditation, breathing exercises. We're just such a hustle society that we don't know how to rest.
And then I think we've already lent that stress and anxiety and depression can also then affect sleep, and that usually insomnia, not normal depression. I don't want to say normal depression, that sounds terrible, but with depression, often it's like you can sleep for hours and hours and hours. Whereas in menopause, it's interesting because it's usually now you can't sleep. And do you know exactly what's going on physiologically that's causing that insomnia, or is it just that the brain won't shut down?
So it's multifactorial. There's the brain not shutting down and just being wired and constantly in thought mode. There's also, cortisol it gets a little bit of a bad rap being the stress hormone, but cortisol is what wakes you up in the morning. So there is a natural rise of cortisol in the morning, and a lot of times, so it's in this cycle with progesterone. So as your progesterone is declining, your cortisol is rising. Well, if your progesterone's already tanking because you're in perimenopause, then it's going to be lower at an earlier time. And so that's when you get that 2, 3, 4 a.m. wide awake. And now what do I do? Because your circadian rhythm gets all messed up. And I was talking with Dr. Andrea Matsumura, who's a sleep specialist and she focuses on menopausal women. And she was telling me that the pineal gland gets smaller as estrogen diminishes.
Oh,
And the
interesting.
pineal gland is what produces melatonin. And so you're not getting the natural melatonin production, which helps you fall asleep and stay asleep as well. So it's this, I feel like our sleep is under attack and we're being flanked on all sides.
Which isn't good.
No, it's not. And then our partners are snoring next to us and we're like, yeah, you suck. Like, how do you just get to fall asleep like that?
Tell me how to stop gaining weight. Tell me, Victoria. I don't want to buy new pants, woman. Help me out. Help a sister out.
Hey, if I had that figured out, I would be sitting in this house probably. Be out in the world saving humanity from the weight loss, from the weight gain that happens in midlife. And so many women are just so frustrated, and the things that they've done before aren't working. They're not eating, they're under eating, and they're still gaining weight. And I wonder if some of it I feel is evolutionary. I've read the studies about how the reason why we gain the weight is because we are reducing our estrogen. And so if you think like you're more likely to break a bone when you're older because
You need
don't have
fat to break
estrogen.
the fall?
Yes, a little bouncy. You're a little squishy. I'm sorry.
Evolution.
So I've talked with practitioners. I talked with a physical therapist who said maybe we need to, also stop the conversation around getting smaller, but understanding that it is an evolutionary change to our bodies, maybe for a reason, and embrace it. But on that note, it is still a major bone of contention for women to have that increase in weight gain, especially when you feel like you're just doing everything and nothing is working. And so that's a question of insulin sensitivity and metabolic resistance. So eating highly processed foods, drinking alcohol, eating inflammatory foods, those are all things that are working against you. So even if you're not eating that much or you're still exercising and you're wondering like calories in, calories out, it doesn't make sense. Our bodies aren't processing sugar and aren't responding with insulin the way they used to.
How about joint pain? Is that a common issue that you're seeing with a lot of your clientele?
And I think that's the inflammatory response of a lack of estrogen. Again, is that you're seeing the joint pain. There's frozen shoulder. I think Dr. Vonda Reggett is another. She's a physician in sports med who she's built her practice now on midlife women and strength and muscle health, and she will also tell you the same thing. Like frozen shoulder and estrogen loss go hand in hand. So
I don't like the sound of this because I already have an angry shoulder that has been surgered. And if this thing freezes up, I'm be so mad because the first surgery, I couldn't like feed myself, couldn't brush my hair. I'm like, can't pull up your pants. It's like the worst. So tell me that I'm not going to get frozen shoulder. And what does that mean? And I don't want it, but you got to tell me now because I'm going to have insomnia tonight thinking about my frozen shoulder.
Your frozen shoulder and your sarcopenia and your osteoporosis. I'm sorry. I know.
I did get my bone density tested and I'm good right now. So I'm very proud of myself.
Oh, good.
But
good. I did that. I checked it when I was in pharmacy school and I was osteopenic at 25 and I had a heart attack. And then I started lifting weights and I'm completely safe now. So I feel much better about my odds.
Oh, good. Good.
In menopause. It's one of those things where there's so many sides of menopause that I'm not as versed on the frozen shoulder. It's an inflammation response. I know my mom had it. Like I remember she I think she was in menopause when it happened. She like couldn't even get her arm into a turtleneck or whatever. She had to do physical therapy. She had cortisone injections. And the women that I've talked to who've had frozen shoulder, they don't even remember an injury. Like it's not like they lifted this weight funny and they heard a pop. It's like they woke up one morning and they couldn't move their arm up past this.